Hello and welcome to House Plans and Construction Expert platform, a place where we teach you how to build a financial legacy using property as a vehicle. My name is Miki Chikwabe, founder of Chilumi Architecture and Home Designs, a place where we build right, and we're all about helping you build elegant, affordable homes below market values and without using your own money. I'm also a professional property investor in residential development with more than 2 decades of experience in architecture and project management. So in the last video, we spoke about legacy. We also spoke about our dream. And our dream is to transform the availability of low to medium price home ownership for the economically disadvantaged families. And our purpose is to inspire, educate, train economically disadvantaged families about how to qualify for the acquisition of a new home. So today, we're going to define what a financial legacy is and how it looks like. So, of the many definitions I came across, the one that caught my attention and I think I would want to continue to stick with is that of Dr. Chomba Chuma. He has written a book called Build a Legacy Touch Freedom. And he has a very good definition on what legacy and how it looks like. So this is his book. It's fairly a small book, a book you can read in 1 or 2 days. I highly recommend this book. It's quite very good. And also the good part is it's written from the African soil. I really appreciate Dr. Chuma's thoughts. So let's see and hear his definition of a legacy. And he writes, when talking about a legacy, our definition here entails looking at the long-term prospects of the properties outliving our personal lives. This implies that beyond mere living, your descendants will have assets, possessions, an estate that you have molded and shaped. This legacy becomes a heritage and bequests that lives beyond your current life. In most instances, each generation starts from ground zero. After we have trained in our careers or trades, the best our parents gives us is a startup amount that can help kickstart our lives into the working world. It is only after our parents pass on that the inheritance is passed on to the children amidst numerous taxes from the government. As a matter of fact, if properties were under the individual's names of the parents, the cost of transfer, including estate duty, transfer duty, capital gains taxes, estate agents commission, executors fees, etc., are often so high that it is more practical to sell the asset than transfer it into descendants' names. Well, this leaves the next generations with nothing short of a few liquidated assets in cash form, which rarely take it to the 3rd generation. It usually takes 2 generations to keep assets in the family. Anything more requires rigorous preparations, use of entities, and succession planning. Wow, he speaks quite a mouthful there. But what Dr. Chuma has in mind, he has a middle class or middle income class person in his mind. But I would like to do a bit more justice to look at a low or class or low income class person and then build my way up to a middle class and ultimately to financial freedom status or person looks like. So think with me for a moment. You are born in a family of a low class income parents. And depending on what country you come from or where you come from, you'll find that your parents really struggles all the way through and battles all the way through in taking you to school. So they take you to school, secondary school, which is about grade 12, and somehow they also struggle and fight all the way to take you through college. So you go to your college 2 years, 1 year, 2 year college and acquire a certificate to enable you have an entry level into the working world. And so there you are, you start working, but then you continue to work and pay your way through to the career of your dream. And before long, you get a job at a well-structured institution or company or a government for that matter. There, because they're well-structured, they help you save for a retirement fund. So you work for a period of time, 40, 45 years, and before you know it, they no longer need your services. And graciously, they give you your package, your retirement package. But sadly, before you actually collect your package, the government comes in and impose taxes on you. And usually it would range anywhere from 27 to 30, 35% or even more. And so there you are. And depending on what level you were working, and depending on how much you will have accumulated, and that's when you now begin to think of building your house. So depending on what you got, if you had collected enough money, you could fairly build a decent home or a decent house. If you didn't acquire enough, you find that you build, and you reach your roof. Before you know it, your money is depleted. But at least you've put in a roof, some windows here and there. But you haven't plastered, you haven't put in towers, money is finished. And in other instances, you find that you even fail to build because the money is not enough. And so there you are, but at least, and thankfully, you have some form of a shelter. But your money is finished, and you don't have any income to sustain your life. And so the only options you remain with is depend on your children. So month in, month out, they send through some provision for you. Before you know it, you begin to feel uncomfortable because you are entirely dependent on your children. And you could see that, it's not really working here. You become a dependent on the children. And so you begin to entertain and you rather want to die. The only option is to die so that you don't become a burden to your children anymore. And not so long, you in fact die. And before you know it, the children pounce on your house, they sell it, they split the proceeds, and basically that's the end of your legacy. Now I'd like you to think with me for a moment. Imagine all the sacrifices that your parents poured in, and all the sacrifices that you poured in studying and taking yourself to school and working for 40 years. All that is reduced to but an unfinished house, which later on is sold, and that's the end of you. Think with me for a moment. Second scenario, you take yourself to school, you start working, and the organization begins to save for your retirement. But in this case, you don't wait to first retire and then build, but actually you build 1 or 2 homes whilst you are working. And not only that, you managed to save a few monies such that you take your children to school. The best gift that you give is to your children is send them to a better school. So you send them to a better school, better than the school you went to, of course. And you also actually help them as they start their lives in the working world. As they start their families, you actually help them to kickstart their lives. And unfortunately, they can only access your properties when you've passed on. So, so happens that you pass away, and that's when your children gets access to your property. Like what Dr. Chuma was saying, you find that because the children were not prepared, they are faced with a lot of barriers in accessing your properties. Transfer fees, duty fees, and all those. They struggle to raise those kind of monies, and the best way they think is let's just sell the properties, and whatever will remain will be our inheritance. And so they share a few monies there from your proceeds, and again, that's the end of your legacy. All your sacrifices are reduced to nothing. All your sacrifices really razed to the ground. That is why we are here on this platform. We are saying it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. It has to be built the right way, and the properties have to be kept so that the next generation can benefit from that. Now, even before we come to the descendants benefiting, but it ought to be structured in such a way that whilst you are alive, you benefit from those properties. Those properties actually takes care of you in your old age. So find that depending on how it was structured, the properties that you have acquired, and with your retirement funds, you find that you don't have to use the retirement funds for building, but you can actually use it to sustain yourself. But also, depending on how you've structured your properties, you find that the properties would take care of you so that you don't have to be a burden to your children. And that's what we are here for, and that's what we want to educate, so that the next generation doesn't have to come and start from ground zero and they start all over again, and the cycle continues and the cycle continues. But instead, when it's built right, they come, they inherit and build on what you left, and the next generation comes and inherit and build on what was left, and build on what is left, and build on what is left. That is building the right way. So in our next videos, we'll begin to look at how do we build the right way, and how do we preserve or keep properties the right way. So if you are new to this channel, I'd urge you to please subscribe to the button so that you don't have to miss the next coming videos. So see you in the next video.